Let's see what his day's like.
Well, we have a good routine. We have good staff. We do pretty much the same thing every day. Everyone is in, get their horses ready. They're 7:15, and we all head on to the gallop, usually 20 to 8 or that. You might sit in behind Bash, and Stevie, you go behind the Bash as well, will you? The horses have a walk and a warm-up, and then they do their work, and they walk home, and they're back in the stable. So we keep it very simple. All right, Colin. All right, Stevie. All right, Dave. Okay, MJ. This is our busiest time of year. January, February, March. The 2-year-olds are in, and the jumpers haven't gone out yet, you know what I mean? We're going inside here now. Making the entries in that is very important, and picking the right races is absolutely essential to the winners that you're going to have. So I actually quite enjoy sitting down and trying to pick a good spot for a horse. And even if you pick a race in 6 weeks' time there and you can win it, I get a kick out of that as well. But obviously, everyone trains horses to train Group 1, Grade 1 winners, and that's kind of what it's all about. I'm very lucky that I have a good team around us to help us with everything. So I'll just do this one then. Yeah. Everyone has a big part to play. Listen, I literally just scribbled on a piece of paper and they do all the hard work, so I'll get a mug of tea. This is what I spend most of my morning doing. Making tea and coffee for lads. Yeah, that's what I thought. He just tries hard enough, I'd say there, you know what I mean? Well, training was always going to be the end game, I suppose, but I get a bigger kick out of training a winner than I did riding. There's so much more goes in behind the scenes. I probably don't go racing as much as I should. We tend to ride out our 2-year-olds later in the morning, and it's very important for me to be here to see them. And obviously this time of year, the racing starts early, so when the horses actually get to the race course, my job is pretty much finished and it's over to the jockey, so my time is better spent at home working with the horses than sitting on a motorbike, you know. I'm pretty much here every day, and getting up and coming out here in the morning is nearly like a day off for me because I really enjoy it, and I wouldn't wish to be doing anything else on a daily basis, you know. The gallop is 7 furlongs. It climbs 340 feet, so there's a good pull on it. Now we don't go all the way to the finish only when we need to. So depending on the horse and his work routine, depends on how many times we work him a week or whatever. But I guess the average is once a week. Most horses only work once a week. But it's a fantastic gallop. We don't have to go very fast, and we get a good aerobic workout into them. We can have them fit and healthy and place them in the right races. That's kind of what we try to do, and obviously we will work like with like, so the flat horses will work together and jumpers will work together, but the routine canters are similar. We get a few birds, we school the young horses a bit, once a week or that, maybe twice a week, but the older horses, once they get racing and they're pretty good to jump, we tend not to school them too much. So I guess an odd horse will school a bit more than others, but obviously when you're schooling, you're at a higher risk of injury. So when they're good, we tend to leave them alone. All happy enough, lads? So this time we'll do the same, except we'll pop the 2 and then go up and look at the last, you know what I mean? What's the ground like? Good enough? I don't have a preference as to training jumpers or flat horses, but I like training good horses, and if it's a Group 1 horse or a Grade 1 horse, they're the horse I enjoy training the most. It's been better than what we could have anticipated. We've been supported by some great owners, and we've been lucky that we've got some nice horses, and like I say, we've got a great bunch of staff in the yard, and it took us a bit of time to get a good routine in place that we were happy with, that we could get the best out of all the horses, and I think we have that in place, and they're running well, so hopefully we can keep them healthy. For me, like I say, it's not really work, it's a hobby, and it's a way of life, and I'm very lucky that my job is also my hobby and what I really enjoy doing.
Thank you, Joseph, so much. Absolutely fascinating. Happy horses, good horses. What a successful operation, Jane.
Yeah, and a good man at the head of it. I was fortunate when I was in Ballydoyle. Joseph was riding at the time, and he's just an unbelievable work ethic. You know, I'd say the guy doesn't sleep. And he was always, the end game was to be a trainer, and the way he's able to marvel to adapt it to jumping and flat horses, it's rare. You see Jessica Harrington doing it, and his parents did it, but he's doing it to great effect now.
Ted, is there a special art? I mean, he's hugely successful. He's got a lovely place to train. He's got some nice horses.
Yeah, it's a great life, though. I mean, but what he said there, it's his pleasure, and he's able to make a living out of it. There is no nicer way to actually go through life than training horses. Going up there in the morning, meeting all the lads, having a chat with them, going out onto the gallops, lovely fresh morning there. It's a wonderful life, and then long may it last from him, and he'll be a huge success. It's bred into him in his DNA, both from sire and dam. He can nothing but only be a good.
You know, a trainer, it's a 24-hour job. It's a stressful life as well.
That is stressful, but sure, there's nothing. What isn't stressful? Sitting in the M50 for 2 hours, going to a job that you mightn't like, is stressful as well too. Everyone has stress in life. All sorts of jobs are stress, but you love it. You walk out there, there's a lot of stress, but then you walk out and say, God, this is beautiful to be here this morning, watching all these nice horses. I wouldn't think it's stressful. I think it's
Jane, it's been your life. You know, you've been in a training yard all your life.
Yeah, I suppose my family are very lucky, both sides, the O'Briens and the Mangans. We've made a living from this wonderful industry, and I hope that we can carry it on. My parents have had great success down through the years, and look, it all culminates in trying to get here today, to have a horse running here in these kind of races. But as Ted says, when you get up in the morning and you go out and you look at a few nice horses, it makes all the troubles worthwhile.
That's what it's all about. Thanks, Joseph, again.
Well, ahead of our next race here at Leopardstown, down in the pre-parading, we just have Oscar Knight in behind us behaving himself, but he should be at this stage Tom Mullins. He's 10 years of age and he was second in this race last year to Total Recall, but off a lower weight back then.
Yeah, he was second last year. I think he was maybe 6 pounds, 5 or 6 pounds worse off now. So hopefully the ground won't interfere. I mean, the mare in the first had a good mare in the first. She wouldn't let herself down on it, so maybe it's quicker than I thought. But he's in good form. He hasn't had a run since Listowel, but I think he's better over hurdles. He won a nice race last November, 18 or whatever, and over hurdles, and then he ran well here last year to Total Recall, who won the Hennessy after or before or whatever, but he was off a lower mark. So I'd be very hopeful.
Okay, well, best of luck with him. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Yes, it's the William Fry handicap hurdle. If you've just joined us, there's a plethora of non-runners in the Unibet Irish Gold Cup, now down to, 4 runners or thereabouts. Looks a match between Bell's Hill and Road to Respect. Road to Respect now marginally odds on, 5-4 on ahead of Bell's Hill at 6-4. More about that on and on. That's at 3:35. But we have a more interesting racing for you, headed by this €87,500 William Fry handicap hurdle, won last year by your favourite. In fact, this is race number 4. The first 3 favourites have gone in here at the Dublin Racing Festival. 4 winning favourites yesterday, so punters in good terms with themselves. Tigress River is number 1 for the William Fry, Barry Geraghty. 2, Salty Boy, Danny Mullins. 3 is Cuneo, Rachel Blackmore. 4 and 5 are out. 6 is your favourite, Dallas de Pictons, the gelding by Spanish Moon, Jack Kennedy aboard. Number 7, Oscar Knight, Mark Walsh. 8, Pleasure Dome, Ruby Walsh. 9, Boot Camp, Mark Enright. 10, Calden McNeil is Paul Townend. Monlino is number 11 for Niall Madden. 12, Mary Francis is an absentee. 13, Jimmy Breaky is Patrick Corbett, taking £3 off for Stuart Crawford. Nobody Home is number 14 for owner trainer Eddie Cawley and Brian Hayes. 15, Brosna George is an absentee, won't be bidding for the hat-trick this afternoon. And number 16, the Gate Checker, trained by Michael Horrigan, and young Darragh O'Keefe, who must have thought I was going to win yesterday on the champion hurdle with a jet ski, only for off you go to come late and spoil the party. He's on the Gate Checker, number 16. How did they bet, Tom?
Well, Brian, this was a puzzle when they priced this race up, as they tend to be, these complex big field handicaps. Money came almost immediately for both of the horses you see at the front of the market in the Gigginstown colours. Contrasting stories behind them. Dallas de Picton having his first try in a handicap today, up in distance for his first crack at 3 miles, a rating of 1:30. But I think the thing that really sticks in the mind, when he won the last day, it was the step up in trip to 2.5 miles that seemed to unlock the improvement. Cuneo, by contrast, has already won a handicap, a big field event at any rate. That was Rachel Blackmore doing the steering that day also, and Cuneo looked really promising that day. So money for those two. If you're trying to unlock those at bigger prices, though, Oscar Knight backed at 20-1 overnight, albeit before the omission of the non-runners, second in this race 12 months ago. And the other one, less heralded, is Jimmy Breaky, number 13, who ran very well at Navan the last day. Probably enough evidence within that to suggest he could get involved here. So an intriguing race. Outsiders being backed, Oscar Knight and Jimmy Breaky, but advantage Gigginstown at the front of the markets.
Some bookmakers quoting co-favourite, 7-2 each at 3. We'll keep you posted from the ring. Salty Boy is a 10-1 shot. Trainer Mags Mullins is now talking to us.
Yes, just trying to avoid the showers at the moment. And yeah, Salty Boy, trained here by Mags Mullins, of course. A winner at Navan. And you were just saying there'd been a little few hiccups and hold-ups, Mags.
Yeah, a little in between the last day and today. But he's well, it's a valuable race. So if he's placed, we'll be delighted, yeah.
He seems to be an improving sort as well.
He is. He runs well every day. He runs a lovely race.
Should handle this ground okay?
I think so, yeah. It's drying out as the day is going on. Plenty of wind there today.
It's just been unbelievable, the sort of weather that we've had the last, 10 months or so.
Yeah, unbelievable weather. Yeah.
The very best of luck, Max.
Okay.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Good talking to you.
Well, it's an interesting one, all right, and plenty of money to be spread about. Gigginstown have a strong hand, Cuneo and Dallas de Picton and Bootcamp as well. Horses down on the track, and they'll be gathering at the start in a moment. This Dallas de Picton is quite interesting, I think. He's making his handicap debut. He won a maiden last time out over 2.5 miles, but he looks a real stayer. He won by 10 lengths under Jack Kennedy, and he's the one that the punters have gone for. They reckon that the 130 that the handicap has given him is reasonable. He's 7-2 joint favourite or co-favourite, Dallas de Picton. He's in the Ballymore and the Albert Bartlett at Cheltenham, well regarded, and see how he gets on here. What about Cuneo?
One of the other market leaders is Cuneo. Now, we'll all remember Cuneo at Christmas. He's a very leery individual, and Rachel had to be very vigilant down the shoulder with her stick to get him to go forward and straight. She won't want to deliver him until late, because when he gets to the front, he doesn't do a tap, and rather than going forward, he likes to go sideways. So he went up £6 for that win, and he's going to have to be very genuine to defy that today.
8 there in the purple with the silver horseshoe on it is Pleasure Dome, one of Willie Mullins's. Ruby on board. Well held by Darren Ross at Limerick the last time, but he's a good tough horse now of Philip Dempsey's. He's been a good winner on a few occasions, and that was no mean run. If she could just put that together again here, she'd be definitely in with a big shout. She stays well, and she's a good tough mare. One on the flat as well too, and she'll have her shout.
Just hidden there in the red and white colours, the white cap, that's Salty Boy, who Mags has talked about, Mags Mullins. And I think he's interesting. He's won 2 of his last 3 starts. He was a good winner from Golden Jewel at Navan back in December. He's an improver. He's up £6 for that. And he's a 10-1 shot.
Cala Duminel is the second of 2 fillies in the race. This both trained by Willie Mullins, interestingly enough. He ran no kind of race behind Salty Boy at Navan in December. It must be too bad to be true to pull up in a race like that. He has some solid form in behind. He was second to Persevere down in Limerick in October. And look, he's the Mount of Paultown, and obviously Ruby has gone for Pleasure Dome. But as we've seen in the last race, Willie's second strings are very often as good as the first, and she's certainly no back number.
Ted, Oscar Knight was runner-up in the race a year ago, and he's...
Yeah, he hasn't run since Listowel. You'd imagine he'd need a run. Tom Mullins' horses in good old nick. They're all running well. Pilot's in good form, but just the fact that he hasn't run since Listowel, you've just wondering, might he need a run? He's a pretty good horse on his day, and good good run behind Persian Lark at Punchestown there earlier on, but just a while since he ran.
I'm quite interested in Tigris River. He has absolutely no form. You have to go back to the Galway Hurdle when he was wonderful 2 seasons ago, but he's wearing blinkers for the first time. Jane, do you know the animal? Do you think that might be a trick for him?
Absolutely has been slipping down the handicap, and we saw yesterday with Ivanovic, Gorbatov and Jeski bouncing back to form. Those class horses, they don't have top weight for no reason, but the handicapper gives him a slight reprieve. He's dropping down from 149 running off 139 today. He hasn't won since he won the 2017 Galway Hurdle, but he's in handicap again today.
Off and running, they've 12 hurdles to jump, 12 runners in this 3-miler, and Salty Boy sets off in front, followed by Jimmy Breaky, who's racing on the inside of Tigris River as they swing into the back straight and race towards the first flight. Salty Boy and Danny Mullins in the lead by less than 2 lengths to Tigris River on the outside. Barry Geraghty, then comes Jimmy Breaky, being followed by Cuneo, course and distance winner at Christmas, followed by Pleasure Dome. Just an ordinary pace in the early stages, with Salty Boy a length up on Tigris River. They're followed by Cuneo on the outside of Jimmy Breaky, then Pleasure Dome. Dallas to Picton is next. Oscar Knight, last year's runner-up, followed by Nobody Home along the rails. Then comes Monlino as they continue towards flight number 2. Salty Boy in the red and white colours, the leader from Tigris River. The first colours of JP McManus, wearing blinkers. On the outside is Cuneo. They're followed by Jimmy Breaky, and in behind these, Nobody Home towards the inside of Cally de Menil. They're followed by Pleasure Dome towards the outside in the purple. Then Dallas to Picton. They go down towards flight number 3. Salty Boy, Tigris River alongside. Just behind them is Cuneo and Rachel Blackmore. Jimmy Breaky has the rails, followed by Cally de Menil with Nobody Home. Then Dallas to Picton and Oscar Knight, and they're followed by Pleasure Dome. Monlino is next with the gate checker, and the back marker at this point is Boot Camp. Turning out of the back straight, heading towards flight number 4. Salty Boy a length up on Tigris River. Jimmy Breaky just third from Cuneo. Cally de Menil is next, and then Nobody Home, followed by Oscar Knight, Dallas to Picton and Pleasure Dome, who's towards the outside. Then comes the blue cap of the gate checker. Yellow cap on the inside is Boot Camp. Monlino, red cap at the back of the field. Coming up the straight towards the flight before the stands, the 5th in all, and it's Salty Boy from Tigris River in 2nd. Jimmy Breaky close behind them on the rails in 3rd. Cuneo was 4, then Cally de Menil. Inside of him in the predominantly yellow colours is Nobody Home. They're followed by Oscar Knight, and then comes Dallas to Picton, followed by Pleasure Dome as they come out to pass the winning post. Full circle of the course ahead of them, and Salty Boy is the leader, followed by Tigris River in 2nd place. In 3rd is Jimmy Breaky, then comes Cuneo in 4th. Cally de Menil is next, then Nobody Home. Then we have Dallas de Picton and Oscar Knight, and behind these is Monlino. After Monlino, Boot Camp on the inside of the gate checker and Pleasure Dome. As they go away from the stands up towards the next flight, which will be number 6, and Salty Boy from Tigris River in 2nd. Jimmy Breaky is next, then comes Cuneo on the outside. About a mile and a half to race now, passing the halfway point as they come to this flight of hurdles, and it's Salty Boy, the leader, followed by Tigris River in 2nd. They're followed in 3rd by Cuneo on the outside. Jimmy Breaky still close up on the inner ahead of Nobody Home and Cally de Menil, and then Oscar Knight. They're followed by Dallas de Picton as they make the bend into the back straight. 5 more to jump, 3 of them down the far side, and Salty Boy from Tigris River in 2nd. 3rd place is Jimmy Breaky, Cuneo 4, then Cally de Menil, Nobody Home on the inside, then comes Oscar Knight. Dallas de Picton is next, then comes Monlino and the gate checker, Boot Camp and Pleasure Dome together at the back. Coming now to 5 from home, and Salty Boy by less than a length to Tigris River in 2nd. Salty Boy, Tigris River, Cuneo is on their outside. They're followed by Jimmy Breaky, Cally de Menil just behind the leaders, Dallas de Picton, Monlino on the extreme outside as they race down towards the next flight. 4 from home, and Salty Boy has the lead from Tigris River. Cuneo is close up in third, then Jimmy Breaky still well there on the inside as they clear that flight now and race down with 3 to jump, and Salty Boy on the inside of Tigris River. Cuneo is just behind them, then Jimmy Breaky, they're followed by Cali de Menil, then Nobody Home, then Dallas de Picton, they're followed by Monlino. At this flight, Salty Boy from Tigris River as they leave the third last behind them. Cuneo there on the outside, Jimmy Breaky just behind them, then Dallas de Picton getting closer with Monlino. Cali de Menil is next, then comes Oscar Knight, then the gate checker. Nobody Home has lost a few places, Pleasure Dome towards the back, and last of all is Boot Camp as they head down towards the second last flight now. Salty Boy still the leader, followed by Tigris River. Gone there on the outside, Monlino with Dallas de Picton. Cuneo still banged there, and also Jimmy Breaky as they jump the second last. Salty Boy on the inside of Tigris River. The blue cap is Dallas de Picton. Then comes Cuneo, Monlino are on the outside, then Oscar Knight and Jimmy Breaky as they turn in with 1 to jump. And it's Salty Boy being pressed by Cuneo, Dallas de Picton, then comes Monlino, Cali de Menil as they race towards the final flight now. And it's Cuneo on the rail from Dallas de Picton. In third place is Jimmy Breaky with Cali de Menil, Dallas de Picton from Cuneo, Cali de Menil coming home very well. Then comes Monlino as they race into the closing stages. Dallas de Picton from Cali de Menil on the near side as they race up towards the line. And it's Dallas de Picton wins it by about a neck from Cali de Menil second, Jimmy Breaky's third, Monlino. Cuneo was next, then came Oscar Knight, and a gap back to the long-time leader Salty Boy. So it's number 6 on the card, Dallas de Picton for Jigginstown House Stud, Gordon Elliott and Jack Kennedy.
Another thrilling race, Dallas de Picton and Cali de Menil, and it is Dallas de Picton who stuck his head out in front, and Jack Kennedy, Dallas de Picton in good style.
Yeah, it was a good one, Jane. The handicapper will be delighted with himself. Sandy Shaw, he had any one of 8 or 10 of them with a chance going to the last.
He absolutely did, and Paul Townend, he's after giving 2 horses peaches today, and he's after finishing second on both. Jack Kennedy was rowing along on Dallas de Picton, and he looked a winner quite a long way out, with Cuneo also running well for Rachel Blackmore. But watch Paul Townend here, he's got a wall of horses in front of him, he's not exactly travelling, and he still gets a good run out of him towards the last. And the 2 of them eventually pulled clear, but as you say, the handicapper will be pleased there, all of them in a heap, they're all fairly evenly matched, and it's just a case of when they straighten up who's going to find the most for pressure. I thought Rachel Blackmore's horse would find a bit more, but Jack Kennedy's horse under pressure always had his head in front, and when I thought Paul Townend was coming with a winning run, Jack's horse pulled out a little bit more.
Yeah, they all jumped the last well also. Paul followed Jack through, just went around him, laid down the challenge for a few strides there. I think he might be going to get up, but Jack's old fella kept his head out. I mentioned earlier on about 2 young jockeys. Jack is a few years younger than Paul, but these are 2 crackers, as good as you get anywhere riding over jumps in any part of the world. Probably this is the hottest part, and there's 2 smashers. We'll see them for a long time to come. Jack gets a great tune out of the other horse, and Paul has everything. He's got a great racing brain, he's got great bit of strength, he's in a big yard, and Jack the same way. These lads are going to be riding these horses because they're the young men of the future. Paul has already been champion jockey, and he may very well be champion jockey again this year, and Jack it will be his turn as well too. These are as I said, 2 of the great future top class riders, both of them with a great hold to their heads there. Jack in particular, you see Jack the way he has his horse caught, and he has the reins outside his little finger there, and a great hold to there, squeezes up to him, and Paul the same way. Both these lads start off riding in the flat, and they look at them, grab a hold of their horses there. That's as good as 2 lads can be. One man in victory, another man in defeat. You'd love both of them.
It's a pet hate of mine. The reins aren't on fire. There's no need to throw the reins at them. If the horse goes left or right, at least those 2 riders have good contact with their head.
Yeah, sometimes you lose it though.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen to you, Ted, would it?
I don't know. It's long ago since I was in that position. I couldn't do. I'm sure I lost it from time to time. Lots of fellas lose reins. It's on and off. But as long as they keep going, it's the strength between their legs as well too, to keep them horses in a straight line also. Sally Ann has Jack.
Yeah, just joining up with Jack Kennedy now. And Jack, after a good day yesterday, you're getting today off to another good day with this win.
Yeah, he's had to dig deep in the end, but he stuck his head out and got up to the line anyway. Yeah.
There were a lot of horses in there with the chance coming to the last hurdle. Were you feeling confident?
Yeah, I suppose the race was ran. The way the race was ran, it was going to end up that way. We went fairly steady early on, so there was probably going to be a few of us in it down to the last. But my lad's done it well. He's had to dig deep, but he was tough.
You've got 2 Grade 1s coming up now with Hardline and Outlander, although the races have cut up a lot.
Yeah, they have. Hardline beat Gettysburg and Limerick the other day. Gettysburg made a mistake at the last, but can take nothing away from him. He done it well. So an Outlander loves it around here, so we'll be hoping for a good run.
Well done, Jack. Thanks.
He's a pretty good novice, isn't he? He's in the Ballymore, he's in the Albert Bartlett as well. He stays well. Won his maiden over 2.5 by 10 lengths and stayed on really well over this extended trip.
It's interesting, this race last year, a certain Delta Work finished 4th, and then of course he went on and won the Pertemps at Cheltenham. So this is it's a big handicap, it's a valuable handicap. Good horses generally contest this race. So if you didn't win today, keep an eye on the ones down the field.
Dallas to Pictons by Spanish Moon. He's the sire of Lorena. Wonderful mare of Willie's, stands I think for 5,000 in France.
Jack's an easy going fella, County Kerry man.
Isn't he remarkable?
Yeah.
He's so easy going.
That's the disposition you need, isn't it? He'll never get carried away. He's riding the likes of Apple's Jade there yesterday, and I was watching him signing autographs as he was going out into the parade ring. Like, that's a high pressure ride, as high pressure as he'll get all year. And he still made the time to sign a few autographs, and he's just got a real level head on his shoulders.
He's an easy going fella now. Easy going fella. And he's in the top yard. Wendy Hyde on the right there. Wendy Hyde, they call her Wendy O'Leary. It's not Wendy Hyde anymore.
I was watching him early through the race. The pace wasn't generous, and he was a bit keen in the hands of Jack. So you'd imagine going a quicker gallop, he'd only be better suited to that. He might be a horse you'll see going into Grade 1 company, but he's won a handicap straight from a maiden hurdle. It's not an easy thing to do.
Tigress River ran sweeter than I've seen him run for a long time in the blinkers.
Blinkers helped, didn't it? Yeah.
He's a good advert, that horse too, for Martin Brazil's horse, City Island, who runs next weekend in Ace. Martin has got a big string of horses, but he's got a nice horse from Sean Mulrine in City Island. He beat him in the maiden, you know.
Tom, you are with the winning trainer, Gordon.
I am indeed. Gordon Elliott is standing next to me this very instant. Gordon, well done. First time in a handicap, up in trip, absolute bullseye selection. Most pleasing aspect was?
Yeah, I just liked the way he jumped, and from the last to the line, when the other horse came like he was going to beat him, he put his head out and galloped again. So he's a nice horse. He's improved every run we've had him, so it's good, yeah.
I know the conventional answer is this was the plan, but what would you angle for next?
So listen, he'd be entering all the handicaps over in Cheltenham, and we'll see, but we'll see what happens.
Would there be a potential that this horse is, in time, better than a handicapper?
To be fair, he'd have to improve a lot off that to be better than a handicapper. You know, he's a grand horse and he make a grand big 3-mile chaser, but you know, I'd say that's what he is.
It's been a tough winter. The weather hasn't played ball. The ground's been quick. Trainers have been held up in every way conceivable, and yet you're flying. What have you done different, or has it just been business as usual?
It's business as usual. As I say, it is with everyone, but it is a bit frustrating the way the ground is at the moment. But we're all in the same boat. But that's the way it is.
Keep them coming. Well done.
Cheers, thanks.
Yes, good performance from the son of Spanish Moon. That's what, 3 winning favourites and a giant favourite on day 2 of the Dublin Racing Festival. 4 winning favourites yesterday. Let's see what price this horse Dallas de Picton was for the William Fry Handicap Hurdle. Returned at 7-2. Joint favourite. Wins by a neck from Caldumas Neal, second at 8-1. Third, number 13, Jimmy Breaky at 12-1. 4 absentees, 4, 5, 12 and 15. 12 went to post. We still have 2 Grade 1s, the Flowgas Novice Chase, and of course the Unibet Irish Gold Cup. Much more coming up, of course, but roll back the years. It's always nice to reminisce, isn't it? 22 years ago. Time to think, who won the Irish Gold Cup? It absolutely lifted the stands here in County Dublin. Tom Foley, Dan O'Neill, Tommy Tracy. The name of the horse? The one and only. It has to be Dan O'Neill.
I have never seen a crowd, Robert Hall, like this at Leopardstown. They're 20 deep around the ring. They remind your chance.
There's Denoli the novice, 7 or 8 to 1 available about this fella. It's a brave enough effort, I think, of Tom's to pitch him in against this lot, having had a crashing fall.
Tom, how are you feeling at the moment?
Getting nervous, but it's a big day. It's a kind of an important day to us. If we can stand up, that's the main thing today. To get around and see then where we finish after that.
On the way in the Hennessy Cognac Gold Cup, and Denoli goes into the lead. Denoli and the Grey Monk together. Denoli and the Grey Monk's on the floor. It's Denoli out in front at the final fence. Denoli and Judami. Denoli over in front. Judami in second. And racing up to the line. Denoli getting a huge reception. Racing over the line. Denoli. Judami still coming, but Denoli's holding him as they go to the line. Denoli wins the Hennessy Cognac Gold Cup. Tommy Tracy clutches the air with delight.
The pressure was great. You know, if he keeps jumping like that, he'll stay all day, you know.